Right, hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into Christmas Oguri Cap. This horse is unfortunately or fortunately a very versatile horse with a humongous amount of strategies. Right, you can do insanely high min-max or insanely easy min-max, and this horse will still perform very well. Right, it's just a very good jobber horse and a very good horse for all of those min-maxers who really want to min-max this horse to high heaven. Right, this horse can literally be used in every single strategy as long as you know what you are doing. Right, the key things to understand for Oguri is activators and the regular recoveries. Right, how she works is that you need 3 recoveries to activate. 3 recoveries to activate, and then you get past the 50% mark, and then you will get a perfect proc of a speed plus excel plus recovery. Very awesome stuff. The fact that you must buy recoveries also is very awesome. Right, this horse has 15% stamina, and then she also has this recovery skill on her unique, and she's also buying 3 recovery skills. What does that mean? It means that you're playing her like a team trials horse. Don't need any stamina, you max the wit, boom, the horse is very powerful. The big problem is that wit right there. There's no wits bonus on this card, on this horse, so you need to get good ass cards for this horse to be used. Right, and then there are some CMs where the activators are RNG, where the activators are not so good. Right, so VF, Victoria Frontier, has pointed out that this 777 meters is not very ideal for this Nakayama track in particular. In fact, you want to hit this one over here, but can you? There is no hill, there is no uphill, so this is just a straight line. So how do you get a unique like this to activate on the straight line? You must use a random straight line recovery. At lap number 1, you have this straight line here, you have a straight line number 2 here, and then at lap 2, you have a straight line over here. So because of that, you are gambling an activator that can maybe proc here, or can maybe miss here, or it can maybe activate here, and can maybe just straight up not activate at all because of your wits check failure. Right, so this is going to be a very tough gamble. I'm not saying it's bad, however. I'm saying that if you hit it here, you're going to be very awesome. Really very awesome. In fact, if we look at Daiwa Scarlet, for example, this horse has almost the exactly same unique as the Oguri Cap, right? Speed and excel. And Daiwa Scarlet, whenever she hits at that point, she can also do that. Activate here, boom, win the game. Very powerful unique also. But the condition is different. This one is first or second, and make sure there's a horse in front or behind you. Right, for Oguri Cap, it is different. It is just based on the activation of the recovery. So they are roughly about the same. Right, both of them want to hit it here, but will they always get it there? Not always. Right, and that's where the skill mastery of Oguri Cap kind of comes into play here. That some people will have it easier than others because the sparks also matter for this horse. You want power sparks. You are focusing on speed and wit. The stamina can just use Rico and then survive by default. Right, then all you need is just a bunch of power. So you need some good ass power sparks. That's step 1. Step 2, you need good recoveries inside the horses. Why? Because you're hunting down for the specific skill for here, or you are gambling for a Haru to explode and give you one of those important skills for over here. Right? That is a possibility also. Or you gamble for the card to give you it, like Kita-san Black gives you straightaway recovery and corner recovery. Surely she gives it to you, right? Surely. Okay, so there's a million different things that you can do to also make the horse easier or harder for you to go and make. Right? So I opted for the easiest option. The horse is completed by default. This is the default position for Oguri Cap first, because she has Hydrate and 777. But there's one more recovery that she can use sometimes, but usually there will be a lot of Oguris in the lobby, so you probably can use it, and that is Pure Heart. So Pure Heart 2 to 4. After that, Hydrate. After that, +1 recovery, 777. If you can hit preferred position from a card, awesome. Can hit corner recovery from a card, awesome. Right? So that's other very good skills for you to do. But by default, if you get Hydrate, Pure Heart, and 777, your horse is by default a completed horse already. Then you can buy +1 more recovery to give you more consistency in case one of the other ones miss for some reason. Right? So this is the power of the Pace Oguri. This is the easiest position for you to make because the horse is completed by default. This is a good thing because -1 thing to worry about is very important for this horse, because we still need to hit long S. We ideally want to get Uma stand, then we want to sometimes get groundwork, we want to sometimes get our Anglian and scheming, there's a bunch of different things that you might want to hunt for with this horse. So this is a fight between consistency and perfection. And to hit perfection higher, sometimes you are willing to go and take the easiest route so you can try to high roll the horse even more than usual. So this is one of the things that you can do to min-max this horse, is just take the easiest route possible, right? Using 777 as your main activator. But that is not the end of it either. That's not the end of it either. There's one more thing you can do, which is buy a second activator. You can buy a second activator. If you are using 777 as the default completion, you can even high roll by adding +1 here. When you hit deep breath, when you hit straightaway recovery, just buy. Because what happens is that now you have two activators. One is 777 and one is straightaway recovery, or one is deep breaths, right? So if you activate your two skills early, right? If straightaway recovery, for example, activates really early, whoops, shit, activated on this first track over here on lap 1, then GG, that's -1 activator. But you still have your backup. Your backup is still here. So you can just use that to try and activate over here. Or you can use another one, Shake It Out. Shake It Out is also another one that you can use to basically randomly activate it in the late race. Also can. Literally also can. Either of them could save your run in case your gamble here fails, right? So there's a lot of different things you can do to hedge your risk for this Oguri cap in particular, right? So basically, I'm trying to give you guys the basic method so you can focus on the wit. Because here's my sample deck for you guys, right? With Kita-san Black here, I hope you have one, and then plus another speed card over here, right? Any speed card, because you'll be clicking a lot of wit mostly. You will probably be borrowing the fine motion. If you have it, even better, you can borrow something else, right? The thing about this build over here, the reason why I'm giving you this one and not anything else, is really because of the fact that if we look at this chart over here, which is done by Zeus and Karhumis and Valley from the Discord, right? Very, very good data over here. This is from the community, so if we were to expand this maybe 100 times, it will skew more towards the average player. The average player would have less fine motions or less Kita-sans, right? This one is the super sweaty people, so they know what to pull for, they know what to do, right? For here, you see fine motion, even the super sweats, not all of them have fine motion. This one is really based on luck or pulling a crazy amount, right? So as you can see here, if we times this by 100, most people don't have fine motion, so the most likely borrow that people will do is your fine motion. So you will use Kita-san Black, hopefully, plus fine motion over here, plus random speed card over here. So 2 speed plus 1 wit here, and then the last 2 you can put into wit over here if you want, right? You basically want to max out that wit as much as possible. But MooMooCows, I cannot get corner recovery by default, so I have to random it. Yeah, you probably have to random it. There's nothing much you can do. Like putting a McQueen for deep breaths hint is not good, because the wits that you need is really a lot. You want as high wit as possible. Right, so yeah, this is a sample deck here. You basically auto clear stamina with this one. You inherit mostly power because you literally will get enough stamina by default. If you need more stamina, buy a gold recovery instead. What about if I were to play her in another position? Roughly the same line of logic, right? It's just that different positions have different other recoveries that you could use also, right? Even Stamina Eater is usable, by the way, that's a recovery. So you can use After School Stroll, for example. If you're front runner, you can use Moxie, for example. As long as they activate earlier, they could be just a random recovery that you use for a +1, or they could even activate at the optimal timing, although for Nakayama, you can't really do that, right? Maybe on future tracks, you can find optimal stuff like that, but for this track, not really, right? So yeah, this is the power of Oguri. Just a very, very versatile horse, can be done super easily or can be min-maxed to a very, very insane level, right? But we haven't even talked about other things also. Like, you know, you can even min-max her with the team comp. The team comp can also min-max her more. For example, if you were to make her a pace chaser, what's the strongest thing you could do to buff her? You could make a runaway. If you make a runaway and then you play for Nimble Navigator on this horse, even if this is only 777 proc, you can Nimble Navigator and that will give you more boost. You can even Lucky Pacer and get Angling and Scheming. There's a million other ways to make this horse very, very solid, right? So this is the power of Oguri also. Very, very versatile, allows for many different logics also to go and use for this position. Late Surger can also use 6 and 5, right? You can have additional gambling options also, so you can even play as a gambler, play for only 777, boom, can win the game also, right? You play for End Closer, then you have Spurt and NSM and like anything, Ryan and Dober, right? And then you just also activate Festive Miracle. You can play the VF method of the straight line, you can play the 777 method, but you have other ways to win also, not just 777 proc, not just straightaway recovery proc. So even if you miss, just activate Dober, activate Ryan, activate NSM. Whoever hits shall win, right? Even for your Gold Ship, even for your Taishin, that's all the same, right? Whoever hits better shall win the game, right? NSM, perfect proc here with Spurt, boom, you win the game, right? So that's the Oguri for you, right? You can just make her very good. You can team comp her to buff her. You can not team comp her to just ignore her. If you just let the other people decide the enemy team comp for you, and then you have a very optimal team comp to fight against, holy shit, that's awesome for you also. Let's say someone else brought a runaway. You can maybe snipe the runaway from the other guy, and then use the runaway yourself to go and rocket off. Some people can rocket off your Suzuka also, right? So that's something that's also a risk for you to take. Alright, and I know that for the F2Pers in particular, right, getting the speed is already so hard, getting the power is already so hard, so getting the wit seems impossible also. So that one I also understand. If you cannot get the wit to like 900 or something like that, go with 600 and just pray. Literally just pray. There's nothing much else you can do, really. Like, the horse can win occasionally, then just bring other options to go and win also, right? The poor cannot get wit. The rich will say, hey, you should get wit. There's nothing much you can do about that because Umamusume is a PvP gacha game. Luck will determine whether you can hit the wits requirement or not, right? I also have a chart for that, by the way. For those who pay more money, for those who have more cards than the other ones, right? They will just have a higher win rate. So if you're F2P, you have a win rate around here, but you see the richer people, they are able to get crazier stats easily, so they'll be able to win more. This will eventually balance out, however, once you guys manage to get more cards comparable to these guys over here, right? Once we go into Ment also, the power level will even out also, right? So yeah, this is the really deep dive into X Oguri, and to basically explain that no matter what way you do it, I will understand why you do it, and it is fine, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for Umamusume guide for this X Oguri over here. If you have any other questions, feel free to go and ask in Discord, Ko-fi, YouTube, or Twitch. Alright, I'll try my best to answer the questions for these horses here. X Oguri is just one of the most versatile horses, which makes her a very complicated horse at first. After a while, you'll just get the hang of it, and then you'll be like, I can see what recoveries I will be using for this CM and blah blah blah. Right, so that's pretty much it for the Oguri cap guide here. Hopefully this has helped you a little bit. Remember, just don't care about this so much. Focus on getting this and inheriting the power as much as possible. If you can't do it because your parents suck, then so be it. Just nuke the power, get the wits over here, and try to improve your consistency for Festive Miracle, because that will still beat a lot of jobbers. As long as you beat the weak people, you'll be able to wiggle your way into A finals every single time. Right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.